Welcome to Sparta, Kentucky, and Kentucky Speedway as we get ready for the ARCA Racing Series. Second from the end of the season events. Chase Elliott, one of the drivers we've got to keep our eye on. That 17-year-old is going to start 26 today, trying to bring the Pocono win momentum to him, with him to Kentucky. 17 of Corey LaJoie has won 2 of 3 starts in 2013. Today he starts 13th. Eric Jones, also a 17-year-old, got his first win this season. It came at Berlin, and he'll start in the front row next to Frank Kimmel, looking for his 10th championship in the ARCA Racing Series and that elusive record-breaking 80th career win. It might just happen today.
When the ARCA Racing Series comes to the Bluegrass State, they know they have stepped onto hallowed ground. At Salem Speedway, Kyle Benjamin stole his second win of the season, giving Venturini Motorsports the momentum heading into the place known to breed champions. Who will get lucky in Kentucky? Blinkered and bound, these stallions will stop at nothing to go the distance. With just 2 races left in the season, these drivers will throw it all on the line and hang it out to dry at speeds in excess of 190 miles per hour. Whether chasing a championship or just another check in the win column, claiming a victory at Kentucky is as triumphant as entering Fort Knox. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards is coming up.
After a rainy Friday night, it is now a Saturday afternoon. Zloop 150 from Kentucky Speedway. 100 laps, 150 miles to find out, can Frank Kimmel get that elusive 80th win and break the record that Iggy Katona has set? Let's go trackside for our pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Kentucky National Guard presents our nation's colors. Race fans, we ask you to join us in a moment of silence as we remember those that lost their lives and their families at the tragic shootings earlier this week at the Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. Thank you. Please remain standing as Pastor Larry Campbell from Raceway Ministers delivers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Our Father, truly we come today thanking you for this beautiful day you've given to us. Father, we thank you for the opportunity just to be together and enjoy this sport as you have allowed us to be a part of this wonderful day. Lord, bless those families that have lost loved ones there in Washington, D.C. Father, we just pray you might wrap your arms of love around them and comfort them at this time. And Father, just let them know that you're there for them. Father, once again, we thank you for this great day, for the opportunity to see this race. We ask for your special blessings, Lord, upon all that are involved in it, for the fans, and Father, for the fire and safety people, and for all the security. Father, just bless them, keep us safe, and we just love you, Lord. Thank you for all things. And all God's people said, amen.
Here to perform God Bless America, please welcome vocalists from the band The Truth, Aisha Scott.
God bless America, a land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain to the prairies, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
And welcome once again to Kentucky Speedway. I'm Rick Allen alongside Phil Parsons and our former champion in the ARCA Racing Series, Justin Allgaier, joining us. And Justin, you're here for a nationwide race, and you've been on this track recently. Difficult one to get your arms around, though.
Absolutely. Here at Kentucky Motor Speedway, we've seen this racetrack go through a lot of changes over the years. One of the things that we've seen mostly is the bumps. This racetrack is extremely challenging to get your car handling over the bumps. And here we see Frank Kimmel just get loose going into turn 3 and go up and get into the wall and tear his primary car up. It's an extremely challenging racetrack, and if you get your car right, it's very rewarding.
So even a veteran like Frank Kimmel can have trouble around this racetrack. What about these young guns, though, Phil?
You know, we talk about the 17-year-olds that are so impressive. We got a couple other guys I want to keep my eye on. Justin Boston, the 25 car. He's had a great season, 3rd in points, 14 top 10 finishes. Looking for that first victory. He's got a 2nd place finish. And also Chad Boat. He finished in the top 5 in our other mile-and-a-half we've had this year at Chicago, as well as finishing 3rd his last time out at Iowa. So those are 2 of the young guys I want to keep my eye on, as well as those 17-year-olds.
So again, Frank Kimmel has won at this racetrack. He's the veteran in the field. Can a young gun get to victory lane at Kentucky Speedway? We're going to fire the engines when we come back. Nearly a perfect day in Sparta, Kentucky. We get ready for the penultimate race of the 2013 season. Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel actually ends up going to Frank Kimmel. Yesterday, qualifying rained out, event rained out. They go by owner points. And that means Frank Kimmel is going to bring the field to the green flag today. Our Scott Brand Rookie Challenge focuses on the 82 of Mason Mitchell. Mason destined for high levels of success, not only ARCA Racing Series, but also in NASCAR. Made his first career start in the ARCA Series right here at this racetrack.
7 top 10 finishes in a row since joining Empire Racing in the 2013 season.
Drivers strapped into their cars. They are ready for this event, having to wait a little over 14 hours from when it was supposed to get underway until it will. Let's hear the command. We go trackside.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshal, President of Disabled Racers, Aaron Groskopf.
Drivers, start your engines.
The engines have come to life. Drivers ready to get underway. The green flag coming up next from Kentucky Speedway. Engines are fired, cars beginning to roll around Kentucky Speedway. Mile-and-a-half racetrack, and as Justin Allgaier mentioned, not one easily to get around. The bumps, the character of this track, all of the years that it's been underneath the sun. We take a look at the particulars.
Pretty flat though, 14 degrees. You drive down in these corners and you don't look like there's a whole bunch of bank to catch you.
Especially turn 3. That's a really flat corner entry, flatter than we normally go to. So that's going to be a trouble space for a lot of these guys.
Zloop, the Zloop 150 race analysis, 32 cars. This one, a pit window between 60 and 65 laps. One-stop race, potentially.
Yeah, some of the crew chiefs were talking about maybe just putting right side tires on that one time. So if you can go 60 to 65 laps, that means 30 to 35 you get in your window to make it one more stop.
One of the things we see with this racetrack is that the track generates a lot of heat in the tire, so the tire has to be fairly hard. That's why they're not going to have to change these tires fairly often. Hoosier brought a great tire to this race, but they're just not going to have to change them. So you might see some guys that play some strategy and end up with a good finish because of it.
Zloop starting grid rolling across the top of your screen with more stories of what to expect today in the race. We're going to go to pit road. Jim Trado and Ray Dunlap. Ray.
Well, thank you, Rick. I think it's a very interesting dichotomy when we look at a couple of different drivers in this field. You mentioned Frank Kimmel, age 51. He'll roll off first today, but he is in that backup car. When we look at his numbers throughout the years, they're absolutely amazing. The 10th championship's important, but his car owner, Duke Thorson, called him yesterday morning and said, Frank, do whatever it takes to get your 80th win yet this season. they'll try to do that in a backup car. But when we look further in the field, how about Chase Elliott? Rolling off 26 today, but I've been very amazed at watching this young driver. In every division that he's raced in, he's gotten victories. Now let's look back about a month ago. We went to Canada in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and on the very last lap, in the very last corner, he made contact with Ty Dillon in the number 3. He gets the victory, but it was shrouded in controversy. But today, Chase Elliott says starting in the back's no big deal. He believes he can get to the front and get his second career ARCA win. Jim Trado, who are you watching today?
Ray, I'm also looking at the front row initially for Eric Jones to get a good start in the number 15 Toyota for Venturini Motorsports. This team has a series-high 6 victories this season, but they've had a handful of drivers behind the wheel, including the most recent race winner at Salem Speedway. Young Kyle Benjamin took this car to victory lane last week. Let's take a look now as Howie made the pass with 9 laps to go. Leader Kyle Weatherman into the wall. Benjamin passed for his second victory this season. This number 15 team's been extremely fast this year. Eric Jones behind the wheel today has a win as well. 4 drivers have won 6 races in this car. I think he can do it here today as well. Now we go back in the field for another car to keep an eye on. The number 90 of Grant Enfinger. He's got that K-Site Motor Honey Ford running well here. He also won the race just 2 weeks ago at Iowa Speedway. A daring pass within the last 10 laps of the race scored him the win, but most importantly here at Kentucky Speedway, Grant Enfinger knows how this move can play to his benefit and to his detriment. This is the winning move at Iowa Speedway, getting past that same Kyle Weatherman for the victory. Enfinger lost the race in the very same fashion here at Kentucky Speedway the last time they raced here with Parker Kligerman, passing him after the white flag for the win. So Enfinger knows how to win recently and knows how to get it done up front here at Kentucky Speedway as well. So keep an eye on that number 90 of Enfinger today, who starts 23rd.
Thanks, Jim Trado. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers. Let's take them through.
Yeah, let's ride along on this Happy Cheeks Ford on board of Mason Mitchell. He will start all the way back in the 21st spot, but has been on fire since he jumped in this car. 7 straight top 10s.
We're going to move here to the Allegiant Air on board with Spencer Gallagher in the number 23. Had some great runs, has 2 second-place finishes this year in the ARCA Racing Series. So look for him to try and branch out and get a good finish here on this 1.5 miles.
Let's ride along with the 25 car of Justin Boston. That's the Zloop Toyota out of Venturini Motorsports. Look for win number 1 this year. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get it here.
From the 3rd starting spot, the 811 call before you dig, number 32 of Mason Mingus. We've seen him run really strongly, especially at the beginning of the season. He's had some great finishes. He's been battling for that points championship, and this would be a good racetrack for him to try to gain some of those points that they may have lost over the last few weeks.
Mason Mingus currently 2nd in the point standings behind Frank Kimmel. Kimmel well on his way to his unprecedented 10th championship in the ARCA Racing Series. Right now tied for the all-time wins in this series with Iggy Katona at 79 wins apiece. That was a milestone that I think we all expected Frank to get to, but it's been a little bit of a slower process these last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Frank has obviously done a great job over his ARCA Racing tenure and has really been strong and a force to be reckoned with. And I think for him, you know, when he won his 9th, I think he thought that the 10th one would come right away. Fortunately for me, I was the one that stopped that.
Right in there, didn't you?
I slowed him down a little bit, I guess, but, you know, I'll tell you what, there's never been a question that he would get the 10th one, I feel like. I mean, it may have not come as quickly as they've wanted it to, but they've been really strong this season, and obviously they're proving that right now.
And it's a virtual lock, Phil. In the ARCA Racing Series, they do present a 250-point bonus for starting 5 races, and because of that next race at Kansas, the final race of the season, he will have to start it to get it, but right now a 305-point lead.
Yeah, if he can leave here with a 225-point lead, that means all he will have to do is show up at Kansas to clinch that championship.
But once again, the mark of 80 wins still looms in front of Frank Kimmel. Can he get it today at Kentucky? Or who will be his closest competitors? Green flag in the air. We're underway with a Zloop 150.
So the blue car, the 23 of Spencer Gallagher, jumped to the outside without a doubt, passed before he got to the start-finish line. I'm sure the ARCA officials will take a look at that.
One of the biggest things we're seeing is because qualifying was today.
Oh, got a spinner.
Going around.
And around early, the 35 of Milcaduno. A little bit of contact on that left rear.
Remember now, guys, we haven't had any on-track activity since rain. We had probably 5 inches of rain here last night. so the track is as green as it's going to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, there is a little bit of black where the rubber is, but I think that's just over the course of years being here. It's made the asphalt that color. The track is very green and very slippery. Even parts of the infield were flooded earlier this morning, so just to be able to get out on the racetrack was a big deal.
See, Chase Elliott, the 9 car, goes around the outside of Milka Duna. Probably took a little bit of downforce off the rear of that car. She makes some slight contact with the outside safer barrier.
One of the things I was going to say before that happened is the fact that because qualifying was rained out, we've got guys that are really, really fast, such as Chase Elliott in the back of the pack, and cars that maybe aren't up to the speed that they would like to be up towards the front because they've been at every event. So definitely going to be interesting watching some of these faster cars navigate their way through the field.
Milka Duna was starting 10th. Chase Elliott started 26th. And you mentioned it was Chase Elliott going to the outside of Milka Duna in turn 1 as she was turned around and gets into the wall.
Yeah, Chase is already up to the 13th position. Wow, that's like 13 cars in half a lap.
Yeah, I know. Looking at the timing and scoring yesterday, in between or right before our practice, Chase's car was extremely fast. They felt like they had a good car to come here to win the race, and we're going to take a look back at the original start here, see how he made his passes.
See, that's the 69 car. Chris Bailey. ARC officials determined that he didn't really get going when the green flag came out, so they're saying that what Spencer Gallagher did was okay. He would have had to slam on the brakes to keep from running into the car in front of him.
One of the things is obviously they don't want somebody getting an unfair advantage, but if there's a break in the action like that, it wouldn't be beneficial to stack the whole field up all the way back. So
we ride along with Spencer.
Green flag is already out here. You can see the 69 car really not up to pace. You see the big gap in front of the 69 car.
Well, you can hear Spencer getting out of that throttle, feathering it through 1 and 2. But the first caution has come out. Milka Duna damage to the left rear. We'll be back for more. Kentucky. Zloop 150 about to get underway again. Green flag back in the air. Single file restart this time. Kimmel first into turn number 1, but here comes the momentum of the 15 of Eric Jones.
Eric Jones got that first win at Berlin on the short track, but he wants a super speedway win. Finished second at Pocono first time out this year.
I'll tell you, back in the pack, we're still seeing some 2-3 wide racing going down into these corners, and it's pretty impressive to see the speed difference between some of these cars that are in the back that they're trying to get up towards that front.
Eric Jones out in front of the first green flag lap here at Kentucky.
See Will Kimmel in the 22 car up to the second spot. That's one of his rare starts in the Cunningham Motorsports Dodge.
Corey LaJoie in the 17 making moves on the inside, trying to break into that top 5.
Corey had a fast car. Corey was 0.4 of a second faster than any other competitor in the practice session they had yesterday.
And right now he races door to door with that 23 of Spencer Gallagher. Right behind him in this loop, 25 Justin Boston trying to make his move around Gallagher. Sorting it out early. Once again, yesterday rain cancels qualifying, so the field starts based upon owner points. And a lot of the fast cars had to start near the back. One of those, the 9 of Chase Elliott, now working his way, trying to break into the top 10.
He's already up to 9th right now, trying to get around the outside of the 77 of Tom Hessert. That's a battle for 8th. You see Frank Kimmel, left side of your screen, jumping under his nephew, Will, trying to get the second spot back.
Will Kimmel was able to take second away from Frank. Now Kimmel's working underneath his nephew, and very close call there, one of slower lap cars on the inside of the racetrack.
You have to wonder if Frank got that car exactly where he wanted it to be yesterday in practice. He didn't get many laps in that backup car, so he's got to be just feeling it out right now, trying to make sure he doesn't have another incident in this race and try and keep as many points as he can going forward.
And that's a short track here too. That's the car he ran Iowa with, so he's at a little bit of a disadvantage. Also, that's a short track engine. His super speedway engine wouldn't fit in that chassis, so he felt like he was a little bit down on power as well. But right now, staying in there pretty good.
On tough, still holding on to 3rd. He's got the 17 of Corey LaJoie behind him. This is a battle between Spencer Gallagher Justin Boston in the 25 and that 32 of Mason Mingus.
Yeah, Spencer Gallagher just got by the 32 of Mason Mingus. Now the 25 of Justin Boston is trying to do the same thing. And there's Chase Elliott right now up into the 8th spot.
An impressive start for the 9 of Chase Elliott. Once again, started this race in the 26th position. Was able to move all the way up into the top 15 in the first 2 turns.
Yeah, I was talking to his crew chief yesterday, Lance McGroom. They said they felt like they had a great race set up. They weren't too sure about qualifying. He said they were really loose in their mock qualifying run, and then qualifying got rained out, and they'd started all the way back in 26th.
As a driver, if you're not real comfortable in your mock qualifying run and qualifying gets rained out, you're not really all that worried about it unless you start 26th.
And as fast as he was in practice, he did look good, but as you mentioned, had to start back in 26 and continues to work his way through the field.
What a great 3-wide battle right there. The 23 of Spencer Gallagher, Corey LaJoie both got by the 4. Now it's 4 wide.
And the 44 of Kimmel looks to be falling back. Ray, are they saying anything on the radio?
Not much on the radio, but as Phil talked about, this is not their preferred race car for this track. This car actually went to victory lane earlier this year at Elko Speedway, and 1 season ago they used this car to run most of the intermediate tracks, but dropping back to 9th right now for Kimmel. They were hoping to be able to make some kind of a pit road strategy today to keep it up front, but obviously in the early running, the other car's moving forward. How about your end of pit road, Jim Trado?
Well, with the benefit of that owner's points, position number 2, the 15 car, Marines, our race leader, Eric Jones. He was pacing himself all day yesterday in practice against some of these youngsters coming through the field now. Eric Jones also put on the most laps in practice yesterday, 57 in the 2-hour session, most of anyone. But more importantly, they're keeping an eye on their radar screen, if you will, for the guys behind them as they're coming forward. It's a 2.4-second lead for Jones. Not much on the radio, but this team tested for a long time yesterday. Consistent speeds on old tires. It's paying off now for Jones at that advantage.
Thanks, Jim. Eric Jones has been out front ever since the second drop of the green flag. Caution on the first lap slowed us down just a bit, but it hasn't slowed down Eric Jones. Mom Carol watching on top of the pit box. Welcome back. Zloop 150 continues on Fox Sports. Out in front of the field, it's Eric Jones running second. Spencer Gallagher, Will Kimmel in the 3rd spot. Corey LaJoie and Justin Boston, your top 5.
See, the lead lap cars now are lapping by Milka Duna. Remember, she caused her first caution flag.
That outside lane that Mason Mingus went to right there, that's not a fun spot to be in, because you know that you're already too wide with somebody else. You're catching a lap car, obviously, that's wounded.
A little bit of debris up there, probably. You're hearing that underneath the car.
Absolutely, and the other part of it is that we talked about this racetrack being so green. All these cars have started to wear in the groove that we normally run, but out there, nobody's been out there. So there might still be some water or maybe a little bit of fuel from the jet dryers out there drying the racetrack, so not the most fun.
Eric Jones, since the restart, has been able to lead this field. Frank Kimmel has fallen off the pace. He's back in the 9th position now after starting on the pole. There's the 44 in the back of this pack.
There's Brandon Finger. The 90 car looks to the inside of Mason Mingus in the 32. Grant won his last time out at Iowa with a great late pass on Kyle Weatherman.
Now working to the inside of Mason Mingus in that 32. Mingus also getting ready to go by George Cushman in the 13.
We really have to give a call to Mark Simondinger and his staff here at Kentucky Speedway for getting this track in such great shape here with so much rain that we had yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of rain we got in a short amount of time is pretty incredible. We've had some issues with weepers in the past with this racetrack, and I know they've worked really hard to get those out of it. And we haven't seen any this morning, which is a really good thing.
Yeah, Mark joked about that. We were talking with him earlier this morning. He said, we have more practice than anyone in the country as far as trying to deal with rain at a racetrack. Ray Dunlap.
You know, Rick, Phil had mentioned earlier about the 9 talking about being really loose in his mock qualifying run. They had a lot of nose weight in this Aaron's Dream machine when they came for the first part of practice, and Chase Elliott said he did not like his entry into the corners, especially in turn number 3. So they moved the left side frame weight back a couple of feet, and he said that was just way too big of an adjustment. So by the end of practice, they ended up somewhere in the middle. He said, boy, my entry is really good, both in 1 and in 3. That could be bad news for the competition.
could. And I'm telling you, right now, Spencer Gallagher may be bad news for Eric Jones. He's been the fastest car on the racetrack the last few laps. And I'm telling Eric Jones had a 2.5-second lead, what, 5-6 laps ago?
Absolutely. I mean, he's just been catching him by a good amount of time on each lap. He's been average of first or second on all these laps as he's been going forward. So really, really strong here in the early going.
And Justin, you mentioned a great point a moment ago. They are all running the line, the preferred line. No one has really ventured out of that. So is it difficult for Spencer Gallagher to find a way around Eric Jones now that he's caught him?
Well, I think one of the things that Eric's going to have, or that Spencer's going to have to do is use a lap car or wait until Eric makes a mistake, because he can't risk going to the outside or trying to go into a lane that hasn't been used right now. He's going to have to just make sure he makes a calculated pass. But also, too, we see Corey LaJoie right behind him there. Corey's been clicking off some extremely fast laps as well. So he's going to want to make sure that if he's going to make that pass, he does it quick enough that Corey can't get a run on him.
Now, does Eric Jones back up just a little bit? Had that big lead? It looks as though he's been able to hold off Spencer Gallagher ever since Spencer got to his back bumper.
Yeah, Spencer drove up to his back bumper and then really just stood there. Right now, if they're not careful, as Justin mentioned, Corey LaJoie, Chase Elliott are going to be right on top of them as well.
Chase Elliott has been the biggest mover since the drop of the initial green flag. He's already up into the top 5, running in the 4th spot. Everyone chasing Eric Jones at Kentucky Speedway. Spencer Gallagher running second. Battle for the lead continues to heat up. Eric Jones just in front of Spencer Gallagher, and here comes Corey LaJoie.
There's a lot of company up front now. Corey LaJoie continuing to run the fastest laps, as well as Chase Elliott, who right now runs in the 4th spot behind Corey in that yellow car.
We're seeing a gap of 2 to 3/10 of a second per lap of what Corey LaJoie and Chase Elliott are able to run faster than our leader, Eric Jones. So really impressive lap times that these guys are running this early in a run.
Corey LaJoie now has caught up to the back bumper of Spencer Gallagher.
And I don't think Corey LaJoie is going to be happy following Spencer Gallagher. That's not the type of driver he is. I think he's going to try to pass him immediately if he can and chase down Eric Jones.
Well, one of the things is that Corey's not running for points. You know, he comes in and runs a few races here or there, so he's looking at going out there and trying to get this win. Obviously, Spencer Gallagher would love to get this win, but he's got to be thinking about points a little bit as well. So maybe 2 different strategies here between these two.
That last time by, Corey LaJoie not quite as quick as Eric Jones. Eric Jones now working around some of the slower lap traffic. Justin, you mentioned that might be the perfect opportunity for a Spencer Gallagher or a Corey LaJoie to take advantage of one of these slower cars and make the pass.
Yeah, you definitely need to catch the lap traffic at the perfect time. We see Corey LaJoie and Spencer Gallagher here. You know, if you catch a lap car at the wrong time, it can be extremely detrimental to your lap, but also to your race car. If one of those guys turns in a little bit earlier or maybe doesn't go as wide as you think they're going to, a little bit of damage here at Kentucky Speedway is really, really a big deal.
And so aero, very important when you come to this racetrack.
Absolutely. That's the other thing we see with, you know, Corey LaJoie being tucked right up on the back bumper of Spencer. When they drive off into the corner, that car doesn't have the aero load that it would normally have. So all of the suspension and the tires aren't working how they should be, you know, when he's behind him. So that car's not going to turn as well. It's not going to accelerate as well. And so I'm sure, as you said, he's going to want to get around him as quickly as he can, try and set his sights on that 15 car out in front.
He hasn't really been able to do anything with him. Once he chased down, as we talked about, he was gaining 2/3 of a second a lap. And it just kind of stalled out when he got to Spencer Gallagher.
In the 22 this week, that's Will Kimmel. Kimmel just in front of Mason Mingus in the 32. And then 84, Chad Bowe.
Chad's done a great job of coming up through the field. You know, we talked about Chase Elliott and Grant Enfinger, but you know, Chad had a really good car. He started 30th, had a really good car in practice. I talked to him last night at dinner. I saw him out at dinner, and he said that they felt really optimistic about their day and felt like they had a car that was capable of contending for wins. They just needed to get up towards the front.
That's exactly what Corey LaJoie has been able to do. He's made his way all the way up to 3rd, right?
Talking about being just a little bit loose on entry in that Medallion Financial number 17. Looks like he's going to try to make a move right now. Look to the bottom side of Spencer Gallagher. He's going to try to do that down the back straightaway. But guys, I'll really be watching this number 17 when they come to the pit area. They've got a Sprint Cup crew down here getting ready to pit from Richard Petty Motorsports. And we know there's a possibility that one pit stop today could be it. And if you're able to make up positions on pit road, that could be very valuable. So we'll watch catch that. These guys said anytime after lap 30 they could hit pit road.
3 cars fighting for the second spot. Corey LaJoie has it. Spencer Gallagher now back to third. And right behind him is that 9 of Chase Elliott. Now Elliott looks to the inside, trying to take the position away.
Yeah, Spencer's going to fight back on the outside, but Chase is in the preferred line right now on the bottom. Spencer's hanging in tough, though.
Talking about pit crew, as a driver, that's music to your ears, knowing that you've got a good pit crew. Obviously, anything can happen on pit road, and we've seen it time and time again. But knowing you have a fast race car and knowing that you've got a good pit crew definitely is good. Is a good thing and gives the driver a lot of confidence.
And Corey has parlayed that good pit crew into a couple wins already this year.
Battle for the third spot continues. Chase Elliott on the inside, Spencer Gallagher on the outside.
We talk about the run that Chase Elliott has made from his 26th starting position, but I've been impressed with Spencer Gallagher as well. That's a great run for him as we see Corey LaJoie now going for the lead.
Battle for the top spot. LaJoie takes it away as they go into turn number 1.
Almost made it look easy right there.
Corey LaJoie looking for his 3rd win of the 2013 season, and this just his 4th start.
Corey's done a great job this year. Obviously, extremely hard worker and has tried really hard to get this opportunity. Now that he's gotten this opportunity, he's trying to make the most of it, and they've done a great job of that throughout the course of the season. See Chase Elliott getting underneath of Eric Jones as well, trying to take that 2nd spot away. So these two, it looks like, are kind of separating themselves as the 2 guys that on a long run can be the guys that are going forward.
And as Ray mentioned, anytime from now on, these guys can probably pit and make it the rest of the way, but they can go probably to about 55 laps of what fuel they started the race with. So if the caution flag were to come out now, they'd all come down pit road. Otherwise, they're going to wait till probably around 55, 60 laps.
Corey LaJoie, after starting 13th, has been able to wake his way all the way up to the lead. Chicagoland, the 17, got its first win 2013 season. Then he backed that back up with the Pocono win just 2 weeks later, trying to make it 3 out of 4 on the season today. And welcome back. Zloop 150 continuing. 33 laps in the books, and it is Corey LaJoie that's out front. Caution has come out for the 2nd time now. The 0-2 of Josh Williams. Slow on the track.
That's a quasi teammate to Spencer Gallagher. Josh has had some great runs this year. Had a runner-up finish earlier. I believe it was Chicago. I think Josh is going to stay on the lead lap, though.
Trying to get back up to speed so he can tag on to the back end of the field. Still on the lead lap through 33 laps. 15 cars. Josh Williams, the last car on that lead lap.
He was running in the 15th position whenever he got turned around there. So definitely was close enough to the leaders to not go a lap down. But lucky for him, he didn't make any contact. So
down on the inside of the track.
He was on the inside of another car. That's when that car loses a little bit of that downforce off the rear, and around he went. Did a nice job keeping that car out of the inside wall, though.
Perfect timing for a caution to come out as far as guys that want to get to pit road.
I think if you're Eric Jones, absolutely, or guys that maybe their car, Frank Kimmel, some of these guys, their car's not handling exactly like they wanted it to. But at the same time, guys like Corey LaJoie and Chase Elliott, they wanted to keep stretching this lead out and hopefully go a little bit longer. And
they're going to come in with 65 laps to go, which is right on the edge of the window. So I'd say that more than likely after these guys pit, then they're going to start saving fuel. They'll be shutting these cars off on the caution flag and coasting around to try to save some fuel in case this thing goes green the rest of the way.
Free pass is going to go to Bobby Gerhart. So he will get a lap back. That will put 16 on the lead lap here at Kentucky Speedway as the field makes the hard left turn and headed down pit road. Let's go to Jim Trado.
Third in line, but leading this race for the first 31 laps is Eric Jones on number 15 Toyota Camry. 4,200 second gears to call to come down pit road to not exceed that speed limit. He's on the bottom of your screen. He'll come down to get the car tightened up. He said the car was a bit free in center and off in turn 1 and 2. Free throughout turns 3 and 4. That's where he lost that advantage. They're going to go to the right side with a small track bar adjustment. You see the wrench in the rear window. Right side Hoosier radials going in. On the right hand side, they're coming back over. They will do a 4 tire change with Sunoco fuel packed in the second can going in now, right?
Difficult call for Lance McGrew. He's the crew chief of Chase Elliott. He said he's tight in 1 and 2, but loose in 3 and 4. They're doing it all with air pressure. Top of your screen, you see the 17 of LaJoie. LaJoie's going to drop the track bar a half a way around, and Kerry LaJoie, who comes in as the leader, is going to roll off pit road. Looks like probably in third. Chase Elliott first off the pit road.
Pretty impressive stop for the 9 team. And issues with the 15.
They have the back of the car jacked up. Jim, what's going on with the 15?
The left rear was still in the pits when the car got dropped off the jack, and off it went. The left rear peeled off the car. They're trying to pick the car up now by human hands and by the pry bar. They've got the jack now working. The entire over-the-wall crew now trying to get the car high enough to get that left rear tire on. Huge blow, thankfully under caution here for Eric Jones, our early race leader. But what a big mistake here. The left rear was not on when the jack went down and the driver took off. It's now down, and he's away.
But look at the damage to that left rear quarter panel, and as much as air matters here, that would be like a parachute.
Absolutely. That's going to be a tough go for these guys going forward again.
Just a miscommunication there. It's up to somebody. A lot of times it's the jack man dropping the car as a signal to leave the pits. Sometimes the crew chief says it's time to go.
Yeah, looking at this right here, it looked like the jack man still had the jack up, because we see the side is buckled there, so it looks like the jack was still up. So maybe the crew chief said go, or maybe the driver just, you know, is anticipating those lug nuts being put on.
So an unfortunate incident on pit road will relegate that 15 all the way to the back of the lead lap. Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway. For more on the 90 with Grant Enfinger, let's hear from Jim Trado.
Great stop to get him in contention, guys. 2 tires on the number 90 Ford, but it was the 2 left side tires that crew chief Kelly Kofsky decided to change. His theory, I just spoke with him, he said, this is our only way to gain advantage. We came into this pit stop 8th. We need to get track position. We're hoping that on the next stop, if all others take 2, we'll take our 2 right sides then. We need the track position now to get in contention with these guys. So great stop by the Motor Honey Ford team. Just 2 left side tires, strategy playing a bit different. He said that's the only way, Kelly said, we have a chance to win this thing.
The tires are that important that you would have to come down a second time. We know that they could make it on fuel.
Well, I think one of the things you're going to see here is that because we're on the edge of the window, as we get down to the end, the leaders may choose to stay out. But I feel like some of these guys that are maybe 4th, 5th, 6th on back, depending on how many cars are on the lead lap when we get to that point, they may come back down again a second time if we get a late caution. If we don't get a late caution, I'm not exactly sure how this call is going to work out, but one of the things that typically happens, the right side tire is extremely hard. The left side tire usually is a little bit softer. That way the car doesn't lose grip. And so they may be looking at these tires going, okay, the left sides are wearing a little bit more. We're going to change the lefts, keep that soft tire on there, and maybe that'll help them on the long run.
The reason we're focusing on this 48 is this is the swan song for James Harvey Hilton. James Hilton is 79 years old. He's in his second to last start in the ARCA Racing Series, and the man has seen about everything in stock car racing. In the 50s, he was talking about being at stock car races.
Racing at the beach course. He was the crew chief for Frankie Schneider on the beach course in 1958.
I'll tell you, if you walk through the garage, you'll never see anybody that's as happy or just... It's amazing to sit and listen to some of his stories and just talk about his racing career.
We did yesterday. I told Phil as we walked away, I said, Phil, I could sit there for hours and listen to his stories. He mentioned that he loved racing against Bobby Allison. Probably one of the favorite guys that he ever raced against was Bobby Allison. Field 2x2 once again. Lead lap cars on the outside. Chase Elliott brings him to the green flag.
Big time jump by Mason Mitchell. The 82 car jumps to the outside of the 17 of Corey LaJoie. Mason has that spot.
It is legal to pass to the outside.
Whoa, very close call there as we saw Corey LaJoie get way up high, and that sent the 82 also up high at Mason Mitchell.
Corey takes over that second spot from Grant Enfinger.
Grant's going to be a bobble by Grant Enfinger there as well.
He's going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage with those fresh left side tires and the old rights right now.
Yeah, the balance of the car may change a little bit. The other part of it is for at least the first 4 or 5 laps, these fresh tires will probably prevail. You know, their thought probably was to get into a spot, kind of get into a rhythm and ride, let the tires equal out, and then they feel like they should be on equal pace.
One of the other things that crew chiefs were talking about, especially when it came to qualifying, they wanted
trouble for Chase Elliott.
Tires and our race leader slow on the track. Chase Elliott on the apron. No caution has come out. It looks as though he's going to try to come to pit road, and he will. Ray.
He says engine problem. Wasn't sure whether it's down a cylinder or what, but it won't even stay running now. So could be ignition. They're not sure, but he's on his way to the pits.
That's Lance McGrew on the side, left side of the screen. His crew chief.
What a tough break for Chase Elliott and that entire team as we watch Chad Boat, the 84 car, looks to the inside of Spencer Gallagher. Has already gotten by the 90 of Grant Enfinger.
Elliott very slow on pit road. Not even sure if he's going to make it all the way to his stall.
He is now going one lap down.
23 of Spencer Gallagher in the top 5, Jim.
He's been pretty sporty. Actually, before the stop, we saw him as high as second, then he drifted back a few spots. He actually is very happy with how the race car is working. Just a small track bar adjustment on the pit stop. He took 4 tires on his change, but he said he can pretty much put the car anywhere he needed to before the change, so not a lot of air pressure, just a little bit for Pickle London and the boys in the 23 pit. The Legion Air car and driver is happy. One more note, he's got a spotter up there named Hal Martin, ARCA and Nationwide Series driver that's really helping him through this progress since Pocono.
How about the battle for the lead? Corey LaJoie and the 82 of Mason Mitchell fighting door to door now.
Boy, Mason gets a really good run from the high side through the center of the corner down in 1 and 2.
You have to wonder if it's the aero, you know, of the 17 having a car on his outside, or if maybe they made an adjustment on that 17 and it's just not exactly to his liking this early into a run.
So the 17 tried to run the low line. Looked like he had a little bit of a bobble down low as the 82 of Mason Mitchell was working the high side.
It seems like, you know, the 17 has been stuck on the bottom. You know, he's really run that yellow line. And normally that would be the preferred groove, but we've seen some of these guys move up just a little bit. And I'm just curious if maybe their car is stuck to that lane, if they worked on it and got it too good on that bottom lane and he's not able to move to the outside, or if he just doesn't feel like that's the faster lane for him right now.
Spencer Gallagher just in front of the 84, Chad Boat.
There's battle for the 4th spot. Justin Boston right now, the 25 car, is running in the 3rd spot. He's about a second behind our leader, Mason Mitchell.
Chad Boat looks to the high side now as and crosses over before they go into turn number 1. Still negotiating their way around some of the slower lap traffic.
I mentioned earlier at the top of the show that Chad had such a great run as he does get to the inside of Spencer Gallagher, and Iowa led a bunch of that race till late.
We talked about lap traffic. Here they are catching a lap car. It's going to put him 3 wide here. Spencer backs out and kind of gives Chad the lane there.
Chad got his career best finish most recently as he was able to go to 3rd at Iowa. It's the 2nd time that he's finished 3rd at that track.
Had a top 5 at Chicago on the mile-and-a-half. 3 mile-and-a-half races make up the 21 race schedule for the ARCA Racing Series, and our last race of the year is at Kansas, another mile-and-a-half.
Corey LaJoie looking to the inside, trying to take the lead back away from Mason Mitchell. We talked about the 17 of LaJoie liking that low line, and it looks as though Mason Mitchell's going to give it to him.
One of the things that we talked about a minute ago was the fact that they're going to be on the edge of their pit window. Well, that also means that those tires are going to be a lot older than what they would like. So, you know, we don't know right now if you know, Mason Mitchell's car is set up for the short run, or if Corey LaJoie got a feel that he wanted for the long run. We don't know where these guys are at and what their strategies are. So, you know, we see these guys battling, but, you know, 10, 15, 20 laps from now, this could be a totally different ballgame.
Side by side again for the lead. LaJoie on the inside, Mitchell on the outside.
I think right now Mason Mitchell is committed to the outside and Corey LaJoie is committed to the inside, so they're really not getting each other's way.
Works out perfect for side by side racing, and up the racetrack came that 17 of Corey LaJoie. Just in time, he was able to scoot in behind the 82.
Looks like he gets a little bit loose down there in 1 and 2, with that, especially with Mason Mitchell on his outside.
There's a spot right in the middle of 1 and 2, and I'm not sure if it's a bump or if it's just the way the racetrack is built, but you always seem to get the car kind of step out just a little bit right in the middle of 1 and 2. If he's just a little bit on the free side, that may be the cause of that.
Chad Boat able to buy the Zloop 25 of Justin Boston, so Chad Boat moves up into the 3rd spot. All still chasing Mason Mitchell here in Kentucky. Coming up on the halfway point, Mason Mitchell just in front of Corey LaJoie, Chad Boat, Justin Boston, and Spencer Gallagher, your top 5.
I've been really impressed with Mason Mitchell. Started out the season with the Rulo brothers and had some good runs, but they parted company. He jumped in this 82 Empire Racing Ford, and man, has been good every time.
Yeah, they've done a great job. I mean, obviously, they had some good runs when he was with Rulo Brothers. And, you know, we talk about chemistry all the time of a crew chief and a driver and a team. You know, even though both are great teams, and we've seen both teams run really well, it just seems like that his chemistry over here with the Empire Racing team has just been really good. And Teddy Brown as a crew chief, they've clicked really, really well. And they're obviously proving that they're capable of running up front here.
Last 7 starts, all top 10 finishes for Mason Mitchell.
We're talking about a variety of racetracks for those top 10 finishes. As we see 3 wide here, as these 2 guys battling for the 4th spot split that lap car.
We talked about lap traffic earlier and trying to make sure that you're using the lap traffic to your advantage, not your disadvantage. And it's so crazy with some of these cars that didn't get their cars where they wanted them to because of the lack of practice and everything that they got. The other part of it is, you know, typically this race was going to be at night. Now we're in the middle of the afternoon. It's sunny. The racetrack gets really slick here. So some of these guys are probably wishing it was nighttime right now.
And these cars were impounded too, because they had gone through inspection for qualifying when it started raining, and they had to cancel the race. So they haven't really changed their setups because we're running here in the daytime either.
Grant Enfinger on the outside of that 15 of Eric Jones. After the issue on pit road, Eric Jones has been able to work his way back up to the 9th position. Grant Enfinger 8th. They battle for that 8th spot.
We talk about aero and stuff. We know these guys are dropping off on these corners at about 180 or 185 miles an hour. And that damage to that left rear quarter panel could be affecting that 15 car.
Absolutely. The other part of it is he really hasn't been back in traffic. You know, he's been back as far as 3rd out of that first run. But now that he's back with some cars that maybe aren't at the same pace, you know, it definitely is changing how his car's handling and how he's having to drive it. And we see him having...
Oh, sideways and around he goes.
Around goes Eric Jones. Can he hang on to it as he goes into the infield grass? The caution will come out for the 2nd or 3rd time now today.
I think that illustrates what you were talking about.
Yeah, unfortunately. The other thing we see is with that left rear quarter panel being popped out like that, that's got to be making the car a little bit looser as well. Getting on the inside of Grant Enfinger there. All those things playing against you. Now the big challenge is to get back to pit road without having a flat tire and tearing off one of those fenders and doing even more damage.
And working on that quarter panel. You see how it's bloused out there. Need to work on it. Here he is. Perfect case of getting loose underneath another car. You see it's hung out right there.
That was a battle for the 8th position right there. So definitely moving back through the field like he wanted. Now, unfortunately, he's going to have to try that all over again.
And just behind him, Frank Kimmel is moving back into the picture. He was running in the top 10.
They seem like they've worked on the 44 and made Frank a little bit more comfortable in the race car. He's made some moves that I've seen it, you know, just watching through here that he wasn't able to do on that first run. Now we've got another caution. This puts guys in a window where they can be comfortable to go all the way to the end. I think now would be a good time to come back in to pit road and make some final adjustments.
A few cars will make their way onto pit road for some adjustments. We'll be back for more. And welcome back to Zloop 150. Under caution for the 3rd time today. Out in front, it's Mason Mitchell. Corey LaJoy running 2nd. In 3rd, Chad Boat. In the top 4 look as though they're going to stay out on the racetrack.
Looks like Grant Enfinger, the 90 car, will be the first one to head down pit road.
Enfinger was in that 8th spot, and he decides to bring the 90 onto pit road for some attention by his crew.
One of the good things right here is that he really didn't have a whole lot to lose. Majority of the cars that were on the lead lap behind him are coming down pit road, so I feel like this is a good call for them. Make some final adjustments.
Jim Trado.
2 right side tires on that Motor Honey Ford. Kelly Kopsky again reiterated to me after I made that pit update. He said this is our way to do it. They are going to change the right sides now, get that track position back. They felt the car was a blit off, so it's a tire pressure change on Kelly Kopsky and the number 90 of Grant Enfinger. Ray?
Mason Mingus was running 10th, Jim. He said he was crashing loose. Every time into the corner, he was very, very timid. So they're going to put left sides on. You see they're putting Sunoco fuel in, also a chassis adjustment. He'll come back to the racetrack, but he said they have got to tighten that car up.
There's the 15 of Eric Jones.
Last time they tried to do the left side tires, they had quite a big issue on that left side, putting the left rear on.
He had a bunch of flat tires when he came to pit road after that spin. See a little bit of damage to that right rear quarter panel from one of those flat tires, Justin.
Yeah, you know, when these tires come apart, that rubber comes off the tread and it can do a lot of damage. I mean, even though he's only maybe running around 60, 70 miles an hour, that tread starts coming off and beating around. Once you cut it, it can really, really tear up the race car.
Out in front of the field, the 82 of Mason Mitchell, looking good on the track. What are they saying, Jim?
Well, they were ready to come down pit road. They had everything in position, but just prior to the caution, I popped up the ladder, talked to crew chief Teddy Brown. I said, Mason's car, what'd you guys do on the stop? Because I was not down here this far down. They're the second pit stall in. He said, we changed 2 right side tires. As they were preparing for a 4-tire change, he had said that the car was perfect. That's the exact word Mason used to relay back to the team as he had that lead and was able to maintain that gap on Corey LaJoie. Our race leader stayed out. He just has that 2-tire change. Our Scott rookie challengers moving up from well back in the pack to lead this field, and convincingly on just those 2 tires, they elected to stay out because Mason was so happy with his Ford.
Yeah, started 21st in this race and now out in front.
Yeah, and these caution laps are going to be a little bit of insurance too on the fuel mileage.
Mason Mitchell, Corey LaJoie, Chad Vogt, Spencer Gallagher, and Justin Boston, your top 5. Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway. Out in front of the field, it is still Mason Mitchell. Let's go into the infield. Ray Dunlap.
Well, they have taken Aaron's Dream Machine to the garage. Chase Elliott has climbed out of it. First of all, how much fun was it to go from 26 to the front?
I had an awesome car. We were a little bit off that first run. I felt like we could be a little bit better, and we were able to. Guys had an awesome pit stop, got out front. Lance made a couple really small adjustments, and the car was. I just told him, I said I thought the car was really, really good after we started that next restart, and just quit running on us. So ended up finding a bunch of water in the field. Don't know how it got there, but unfortunately ended our day.
And is this the end of your ARCA season?
It is. Unfortunately, we've been having a lot of fun. We've had some really fast race cars this year, able to get to victory lane at Pocono. Wish we could have done it today, but just, we got to be proud of the fact that we were running good, and we'll take that and go home and see what's next. I want to thank Aaron's and HenderCars.com. Everybody supports me and our team, and just hating it like this today.
10 top 10s and a win. Pretty good season, but Chase Elliott out early. Water in the fuel lines.
Yeah, that's the first time out of the top 10 in 11 ARCA starts for Chase Elliott. So tough break, though.
We talked about the impound and all the rain we've had. You just have to wonder if maybe there wasn't something that happened that, over last night that was able to put all that water in the system.
It's an unfortunate situation for Chase Elliott out of this race. A very happy Cheeks driver in Mason Mitchell. Inside of 41 laps to go. The drivers had stayed out on the track all the way back to the 9th spot. So Frank Kimmel also stayed out. He's running 8th. Zloop 150 inside of 40 laps remaining. In front of the field, Mason Mitchell, Corey LaJoie, Chad Vogt, Spencer Gallagher, and Justin Boston. A couple drivers that haven't made it to victory lane up there in the top 5.
Just outside of the top 5, we have Will Kimmel right now in the 6th spot, and Taylor Ferns in the 7th spot. A nice job for that 17-year-old young lady from Michigan.
I think she's planning on trying to go to Eldora tonight for the dirt races. I saw she tweeted earlier today that trying to make triple duty today, so I think that was the plan for her. She's run some dirt open wheel, so maybe be making the trek over tonight.
Well, that's why she's in a hurry running so well.
Exactly.
Get it done quick.
Little double duty. Field all in line once again. Green flag back in the air. Mason Mitchell in front of the field. Incredible number of 5th place finishes for this young man. His best finish is 5th. He's done it 6 times and now leading the field at Kentucky.
Sure looks like he may be able to better that here today. He has a great race car.
Corey LaJoie tucked in behind him, 3 wide behind them.
Will Kimmel, the 22 block car on the inside. Justin Boston, the 25, got by him. The 02 is Josh Williams. He is being shown 1 lap down. It was a battle for the lead.
To the inside. Can he take it away? At the stripe, it was LaJoie leading by 12 1/1000ths of a second. But here comes Mason Mitchell on the outside once again.
Mason's been so good on the outside here. 17 pushes him up, and here comes Chad Vogt on the inside. 3 wide.
3 wide for the lead as they go down the backstretch. Chad Vogt has now catapulted himself in front of the field.
Well, that's taking advantage of a situation where the 17 pushed the 82 up high. That left, got trouble on the backstretch. 74.
Garrett Smithley in the 74 around. And it looks a little bit like the right front of that car got damaged.
Looks like he got into the inside wall. He was running in the 14th spot.
And a lot of damage to the right rear as well.
And more damage to the left front.
Can't steer it.
Unfortunately, that right front tire, you see it turn to the right, or turn to the left right there. You know, trying to take off, and that thing just wanting to steer back into that inside wall and kind of adding insult to injury there.
Garrett hoping he would be able to drive it back into the garage. It's not going to be able to happen, so they'll have to hook that one up and pull it back into the garage.
And make that mandatory ride back to the infield care center. That's usually
the worst thing?
That is the worst thing. Usually when you have a situation like this, you want to drive back to the pit so that you don't have to take that ride.
Mandatory trip to the infield care center, and so he bangs up the right front. That's what got that right front wheel turned to the left.
Look, he got loose getting in the corner, got up into the outside wall, almost had it saved, and unfortunately last second coming off two, got it turned around.
He had just pitted on that last caution, and you have to wonder if maybe he was trying to pass some of the lap cars on the outside, felt like he had the tires were really good. You know, maybe being on sticker tires, maybe they just didn't have as much grip as what he thought they were going to, but definitely not the way to end the day that he was hoping for.
So out of the car, as you mentioned, make that mandatory trip to the infield care center. Chad Boat, what a run Chad Boat has had to get in front of this field.
An opportunist there is what he was.
Yes.
Chad Boat, another driver that has never won in the ARCA Racing Series, now leading Kentucky. After last week's stunning showdown between two of the house's top fighters, tension between Team Rousey and Team Tate spills over into the locker room. What's being called the new best rivalry in sports. Don't miss an all-new episode of The Ultimate Fighter this Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. You UFC fighting fan, Justin? I saw you do some moves up here as I was.
Well, I just put
about to hit me.
No. I just put my fists up. You know, like they do those photos, and I always like the photos, like the pre-fight photos, because one guy always looks intimidated, and the other guy always looks like he's just ready to rip the other guy's head off.
Do you fear getting into fights? Do you try to avoid them?
I mean, I wouldn't fight you. I might fight Phil. He's one of my size, but.
Wait a minute now.
Well, look at how long his arms are. He could hit me, and
I do have a little bit of an advantage in that department. All right, who has the advantage here? Chad Boat in front of the field. Corey LaJoie, we've seen him run that bottom line. He lines up in the second position. Green flag in the air. 33 laps remain from Kentucky.
Looked like Corey wanted to get to the inside of Chad Boat. Chad made sure he got down, and now Corey's going to go on the outside.
Corey LaJoie working the high side and very close. LaJoie takes the lead. Chad Boat drops back to third, and now even fourth. As Spencer Gallagher's able to get by, here comes Will Kimmel in the 22.
Yeah, Chad lost all his momentum when they made contact at the exit of two.
We've seen it so many times there. The guy on the inside just loses all of that downforce, and around the car wants to go. Chad did a good job of holding on to it, but as close as he was there to Corey LaJoie, definitely not what he was hoping for.
Gallagher and Mason Mitchell now fighting for the second spot. Gallagher on the inside in the 23, Mason Mitchell in the 32 on the outside.
Spencer's been running really, really good lap times here lately, and doing a great job trying to get up there and trying to get another good finish.
Replay on the right side of your screen. What happened on that restart?
Corey LaJoie jumps to the outside. Chad Boat has to chase his car up the hill. They made a little bit of contact. Chad got out of the throttle, and the train went by.
Now, once again, these two continue to try to settle it for second. Gallagher on the inside, Mitchell on the outside.
See Chad Boat now. The white car gets to the inside of Will Kimmel. Will's in the black number 22, the Cunningham Motorsports car this week.
This is exactly what Corey LaJoie wants to see. He wants to see these guys racing 2 wide, 3 wide behind him, try and get, you know, stretched out a little bit. And he's running some of the fastest laps he's been running here lately right now. So he's definitely enjoying seeing these guys get together.
That's one of the things I was talking to the crew chiefs in the garage. I said, how much fall off is there on the tires? Will fresh tires matter with 20 or 30 laps to go? They said, there's no fall off.
We've seen lap times somewhere around the 32 flat mark to 32:30s. Corey LaJoie just ran a 31:92. I mean, that's extremely fast, and definitely what he's looking for in the race car. We talked about long run car earlier.
Right.
It's definitely coming into where he wanted it to be at.
So if a late race caution would come out, would you want to come onto pit road? It seems as though the cars are getting faster as they put more laps on these tires.
I say no. I say keep the track position.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely say keep the track position. As the fuel burns off, the car gets lighter. The lighter the car is, the faster it's going to go. And if you're not seeing any difference in time, there's no sense of coming down unless you need to make an adjustment.
Is fuel an issue anymore for our top 6, top 7, who only came onto pit road at lap 35?
I don't think so. We've had a couple caution flags, so that's going to give them a little bit of insurance. But you never know. Remember, these are still the 22-gallon fuel cells. That's why they could go 60 to 65 laps. And you never know if these guys have the pickup in the right place, though. As long as the fuel pickup will pick up the fuel that's in the tank, they should have enough. If they have any issues there, though, it could be a problem.
One of the things, too, is this racetrack has fairly flat straightaways. You know, some of these places that these guys go, such as a Salem or a Winchester, where the racetrack has a lot of banking, it's a lot harder to keep that fuel in the pickup. That pickup is in the right rear corner of that race car. So going into the corner, it typically tries to put fuel over there. Under caution, though, as the car is tilted over, it tends to drain some of that fuel out of the pickup, and that's when you see guys run out. But
Kimmel
like I said,
versus Kimmel here. This is a good battle building up.
Absolutely. Frank has obviously made their car a lot better. Will's done a great job all day today in keeping his car up there towards the front. So I'm sure they both want to beat each other. I know that.
Justin Boston now holding down the 7th spot in the Zloop Toyota. Now here comes Grant Enfinger around the outside of Boston.
Will Kimmel is the nephew of Frank Kimmel. And Kimmel trying to hold on to that 6th spot right now as the 90 closing in on him, right?
Just checking in on his radio, Frank Kimmel has said he's got a pretty good balance on that Ansel gloves at Menards number 44. He said, I don't think we'd change it even if we were about to pit one more time. I'm going to keep trying to work my way forward, but he's been in some pretty good battles as he continues right now with the 90. So Kimmel hanging in there, battling for 6th, but so far just I think it's the backup car that's caught him today.
Hey, Grant Enfinger has a good car right now. He just drove by Frank Kimmel like it was no problem at all. Now he's chasing down Will Kimmel.
They took advantage of that last pit stop, came in and put the right sides on. Kelly Kowski, the crew chief down there, probably made a few adjustments. Grant Enfinger is one of the best guys I've seen at understanding his race car. He works on these things, he sets them up, and figuring out what adjustments he needs to make himself go forward throughout a long run. So definitely look for him to you know, he's moving forward, definitely.
You remember back at Iowa a couple of weeks ago, he was beat by Kyle Weatherman. Kyle Weatherman jumped to the top of the racetrack, but Grant Enfinger was the only guy that said, okay, if that's working for him, it's going to work for me. He jumped up there, put some pressure on Kyle Weatherman. Kyle got a little bit high, and Grant went on to win that race. So he knew how to make the adjustment himself.
Well, and I talked to him, and they didn't feel like that their car was as good on the bottom as what some of the guys they were racing against were. And when Weatherman passed them on the outside, they knew they knew they weren't going to win on the bottom, so let's try it. And obviously it worked out really well for him.
Let's go to pit road and Jim Trado.
To further the story on Grant Enfinger, they did change 4 tires the last time down pit road, so they got 4 fresh Hoosiers. Most importantly, he may now know what the track's going to be like because Grant Enfinger was the only driver here about a month and a half ago during the Hoosier tire test. He tested both here and at Kansas. From that test, they determined the right side tires they're using here and in 2 weeks in the season finale. So that Hoosier tire test, a full day with 8 different sets of tires on and off that car, that has to help. And Justin, you can attest to the fact that as this track changes, there's a hot sunny day then. And I think this is about the warmest it's been all weekend now on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the sun being out, beating down on this racetrack, the track's losing grip as we get hotter here. So, you know, if they've gotten their car to where it needs to be at, or if they, you know, if the track's coming to them and where their race car's at, they definitely could be a threat here at the end. However, Corey LaJoie is still putting down extremely fast lap time.
Fastest laps of anyone.
Of anyone. And I think the only way Grant's going to be able to get up there is if they get a caution, just because, you know, the field is definitely stretched out. Almost 2 1/4 second lead there right now for Corey LaJoie.
Yeah, 2.2 seconds separating Corey LaJoie and Mason Mitchell running in the 2nd spot. How about this battle for 7?
As Eric Jones, the 15 car, is rebounded now to try to take over that 7th spot. Frank Kimmel, the yellow 44 on the outside, and that's the Zloop 25 of Justin Boston on the inside. I think things would be interesting right now if we were to get a caution flag. We know that Grant has a fast car. Eric Jones's car, he's made his way up to the 7th spot. He may have a pretty fast car. I think right now Corey LaJoie would just as soon this thing go ahead and run out with no caution flag.
Absolutely.
And Chad Boat has led laps. He currently runs in the 4th spot, clicking off some pretty good lap times himself. So Corey LaJoie, Mason Mitchell, Spencer Gallagher, your top 3. We ride along with Spencer.
He gained on Mason Mitchell there through the center of the corner that time. Stays about even down the backstretch. See him running down a little bit lower line than Mason Mitchell is. Looks like he gains through the center of the corner, though.
Yeah, Spencer's car looks really good through the center of the corner. We hear that they're off the throttle a long time, especially on corner entry. This racetrack, we talked about it being free on entry and really loose. But the guy that can pick the throttle back up the earliest, be able to track all the way out to the wall, is going to have the advantage. Now, we talked earlier, too, about aero advantages, and the guy in front definitely has the aero advantage. So, you know, he might get back to the gas a little bit earlier, but may not be able to hold it like Mason Mitchell's able to get off the corner.
700 horsepower, approximately. Tapered spacers on these engines. Fairly comparable, I would guess, to your Nationwide car as far as the horsepower. Is this a racetrack where you have to work the throttle and brake?
Well, we talked about the bumps earlier, and this racetrack on corner entry is one of the slickest racetracks we go to. So it's not necessarily about working the throttle on corner exit. Usually when you get to the power, you can put it down pretty heavily. But just getting down into the corner, getting your car to not over-rotate, and then to be able to make it turn the center is a big deal. And you know, if your car is not handling well, it can be, you know, 3-4 tenths of a second a lap. So it's definitely important to have a good handle on your race car.
We talked about this thing might get interesting if a caution were to come out. The last time I think it was the 44, Frank Kimmel came out of turn number 2, it looked as though there was a piece of debris potentially coming out of 2 right there on the track. I don't know if that's something that would get the officials from ARCA to say we do need to bring a caution out. They're saying that it's out of the line. It's out of the racing line.
And it may be a piece of rubber, too, which would not be a problem.
Corey LaJoie doesn't want to see a caution. Laps winding down. Could he make it 3 out of 4 in 2013? Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway. Inside of 15 laps now for the Zloop 150. Corey LaJoie in front of Mason Mitchell, Spencer Gallagher, Chad Boats, and Grant Infinger, your top 5.
You know, Mason Mitchell and Spencer Gallagher have been really battling hard, but they haven't lost that much ground to Corey LaJoie. Corey opened up a 2-second lead pretty quick once he got the lead, and these guys have remained between 2 and 2.5 seconds. As a matter of fact, the last lap, Mason Mitchell was the quickest car. Spencer Gallagher was the 2nd quickest car on the racetrack.
You mentioned earlier, Justin, that Grant Infinger works on these cars. That was one of the things that Corey LaJoie was most proud about in Chicago. When he ended up winning, he said, I put in so many hours building this car from the ground up. And to see him have success in this car is really, it's enlightening to see these drivers work so diligently on their cars and get the rewards for it.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, you know, we've seen young guys that have talent that don't necessarily know how to work on the race cars come through this series, and I know for Corey that's been a struggle for him. You know, he's been a guy that's down in the trenches working really hard, and he knows he's got the talent to drive them. He knows he's got the talent to build them. Just hadn't gotten that opportunity, and like I said earlier, he got the opportunity. Now he's making the most of it.
And also following in his father's shadows, really. A 2-time Nationwide Series champion and Randy LaJoie. Obviously, that's a lot to live up to, but Corey LaJoie has been very impressive this season.
Well, I'll definitely say that he's not riding the coattails of his dad's success. He's been out there working really hard and is doing a great job, and obviously proving that he's somebody that not only can compete at this level, but all the way up through to the Sprint Cup level.
And he was signed by the Richard Petty Motorsports team as the developmental driver, so that could be that next step for him. I know they're obviously trying to look for some sponsorship, but that's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Ray, a few laps ago, we were talking Justin Boston up in the top 5, but now he seems to have slipped back into the 8th position.
Starting to fall backwards a little bit, Rick, and I was wondering about his Zloop Camry. I ran down to Billy Venturini, his crew chief, and I said, the engine sounds funny from my viewpoint. He said, the driver hasn't said anything about the power, so we think maybe a header is cracked or has some sort of a break in the exhaust, but he has lost a few positions on the racetrack, but so far they don't believe that it's an engine failure.
Unfortunate for Justin Boston.
You can definitely hear that it's not necessarily, it doesn't sound exactly like the other onboards we've heard. You know, a lot of that can change with header configurations and exhaust configurations, but you can definitely tell that it's not as crisp as maybe what it should sound.
It's a good shot of the 55 of Taylor Ferns, doing a nice job here running in the 11th spot. That's Mason Mingus. We're riding along with his onboard camera. Oh, trouble.
A lot of issues for the 99 of Stephen Matthews.
I think looks like he's putting something down on the racetrack.
And if he doesn't get off the racetrack, he does now get down to the apron. And I'm sure the officials and the drivers are going to be looking at that track saying if there is any type of fluid that was put down. But a lot of damage to the 99 of Stephen Matthews as he's made it onto pit road.
Looks like he had already gotten to the outside wall early. You can see a little bit of the tape that's on that right front fender.
Yeah, we see that Veribond tape on the right and left side of that car. Oh, up into the outside wall again. So definitely not what they were looking for today. But
it was probably tire smoke, not an engine giving way for Stephen Matthews, as he does get it down to the attention of his crew on pit road.
With only 8 laps to go now, I'm sure that the ARCA racing officials are looking at this going, okay, do we want to caution now? Obviously, if there's something that needs to be a caution for, we don't want to call it, or we want to call it. But that was a situation where there really didn't need to be a caution. As long as they knew that it was tire smoke, as long as it wasn't anything that was going to affect the other competitors, leave the green out, let these guys race it out for the win.
That's what Corey LaJoie wants.
Yeah.
We would have known by now if there was some fluid down on the racetrack.
Yeah, the drivers behind him would have been screaming on the radio that there was fluid on the track. And up to this point, we haven't heard a thing, and we stay green. Under 7 laps to go. Corey LaJoie has almost a 3-second lead over second place Mason Mitchell.
Yeah, Mason Mingus, the 32 car, was able to get by Taylor Ferns for the 11th spot. That's Taylor in the 55 white car. Mason Mingus, that black number 32.
Taylor Ferns' best finish in the ARCA Racing Series. Springfield, just a couple races back, where she finished in the 9th spot. She's done that twice already this year.
This is a solid effort for her here on the super speedway, though. I think Mason Mitchell is right now our runner-up in the point standings and has run well everywhere. For her just to be able to run with him means she's doing a nice job.
Absolutely, and coming to these racetracks, they can be intimidating, especially if you're not used to running on the big mile-and-a-half racetracks. So, trying to learn, trying to get, just the good feel that you get when you come to these racetracks, because you're driving off into the corner at an incredible speed, and to be able to do that and to hold on to it and feel comfortable is a big deal.
Taylor is the winningest female in USAC history, so she has a lot of talent behind the wheel. Just not in these big-bodied stock cars.
And she's only 17 years old.
That's right.
That's an impressive stat for being 17 years old, male or female.
Think of Aaron Crocker as far as drivers that have gone through USAC and win sprints. The successes that Aaron had, and obviously Taylor Ferns more successful. Corey LaJoie now with a 3-second lead over Mason Mitchell. Spencer Gallagher holding on to 3rd. Chad Boat is 4th, and Grant Enfinger in the top 5.
We just see lap after lap. Corey LaJoie stepped it up here of late, running lap times that, aren't necessarily way faster than the rest of the field, but usually on average they're quite a bit faster than the rest of the field. So definitely got their car where they wanted it to be at.
We mentioned the championship and what Frank Kimmel would have to leave here with approximately 225 to 250. That point lead. He came in with 305-point lead. It looks as though he's going to finish in front of Mason Mingus, so he's going to increase that lead again today. It's almost time to hand him the championship.
Well, all he has to do is just show up in Kansas, and I'd get an early start if I was him, just to make sure he didn't have any travel issues. Get there 4 or 5 days early just to make sure he's in town.
Just spend the week there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just get ready.
Grant Enfinger chasing after Chad Boat in the 84. Enfinger looking to the inside. That is a battle for the 4th spot. Boat has it. Enfinger trying to take it away. You saw the bump as they got out of turn 4, came into the tri-oval area.
I think right now Grant Enfinger would love for this race to be 150 laps instead of 100 laps, because his car is pretty darn good right now. He just needs a caution flag, and if we don't get one pretty soon, it's going to be over.
It is going to be over quickly as Corey LaJoie, race leader, about to take the white flag. White flag in the air one more time around for Corey LaJoie.
And remember, this is not NASCAR. If we get a caution flag on this lap, they will do a green-white checker.
Until they can finish it under green. And Corey LaJoie looking strong as he's passing some of the slower lap cars on the outside. What an incredible 2013 Corey LaJoie has had. Just 3 starts coming into this race, and he won 2 of those. Now, making his way through the final turn, Corey LaJoie is going to make it 3 for 4 in the 2013 season. LaJoie wins at Kentucky.
There's that battle for 4th. Yeah, Greg, looks like Grant Enfinger's going to get it.
Gallagher finishing up in the 3rd spot. Enfinger, Vogt, your top 5. Eric Jones rebounding to a 6th place finish.
I tell you, we talked about so many good stories. You know, Mason Mitchell and Spencer Gallagher having good runs. Eric Jones coming all the way back from two incidents on the racetrack. So definitely a good day for some. And
it's difficult to repeat at this racetrack. Corey LaJoie just became the 9th different winner in the last 9 races here in the ARCA Racing Series.
Caught a glimpse of Harold Holly getting down off the pit box, and I know so important to Corey LaJoie's success is Harold Holly, and I think he's down there with you, Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. He's climbed down off the pit box here, and congratulating your driver. When I listened to you guys in practice, Harold, it was minor adjustments, a shock click here. You came in with a good car, you got a good driver, and it all worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it did. The weekend was really smooth. I got to thank Roush Yates for the engine stay supply and Petty for the help that they're giving Corey. And most of all, I got to thank Corey because he did all of his own setup work. He did all of his own pull down work. He and I consulted back on the phone, but I tell you, this kid works really hard at what he's doing. So it's all up to him, man. He showed him what's going on out there today.
There's one more race left in the schedule. You guys going to go to Kansas and win another one?
Yes, sir. We hope to.
Well, that's pretty simple. Get back to victory lane. Harold Holly and Corey LaJoie win it today here at Kentucky.
3 wins, tying Frank Kimmel in the 2013 season for most wins this year.
I tell you, they've done a great job. I mean, we talked about it earlier, and Harold just reiterated the hard work that Corey's putting in. It's definitely paying off for him. And you know, to be able to come into this ARCA Racing Series against these teams that are running full time, and to be able to go out there and to get the win, that's definitely got to be a great feeling for him.
And so little experience on these type of racetracks for Corey LaJoie. Probably Dover was the biggest, fastest track that he'd ever raced on in the K&N series.
Let's go back to pit road and Jim Trado.
And just his 3rd racetrack at 1.5 miles is 2nd place driver Mitchell, excuse me. And I got to ask you, Mason, when it came to making that 2-tire change, your car seemed to be really fast, but then you decided to stay out. Did you want another caution?
Not really. I don't know what else I could have done, to be honest. You know, first off, I got to thank Happy Cheeks, my dad, my family, Teddy Brown right here, everybody that supports me. It's really cool to get a finish like that and take the lead away. And I was getting everything I could. You know, all day our team never gave up, just like my belt says. But I don't know what else I could have done there.
When it came to getting clean air, how big of a difference was that for you once you got the lead?
It was pretty important for us. You know, our car worked really good up top all day long. And that's what, if LaJoie or anybody tried getting underneath us, I could just keep them pinched down there and use the momentum up there. That's all I could do. So I tried to get everybody I could on restarts and everything. But all in all, it was a pretty good day.
They went through 3 gear changes yesterday in practice. They made the right call. Teddy Brown and the boys. P2 for Mason Mitchell, his career best in 23 ARCA starts.
Yeah, Jim, and the monkey off his back for finishing 5th. His career best finish coming into this. He did it 6 times and led laps here at Kentucky. Looked very impressive. So Mason Mitchell finishing up 2nd to that man. Corey LaJoie winning his 3rd race of 2013. We're going to hear from him. He'll be in victory lane next. The 2013 season for Corey LaJoie has been an impressive one. His first start of the 2013 season was at Chicagoland. He was able to make it to victory lane. Then his next time out, Pocono, he did a repeat performance also to victory lane. Today he makes it 3 of 4. His average finish for 2013, 1.75. Corey LaJoie, 42 laps led today in Kentucky. Zloop 150 in the books. And winner Corey LaJoie has made his way to victory lane.
Medallion Financial is the sponsor on the side of this number 17. Their NASDAQ symbol is taxi. And he chauffeured them to victory lane for the 3rd time of the season, Chicagoland. And now, how about Kentucky, Corey? At the end of that race, the last 10 or so laps looked like it was pretty easy for you, but in the middle, there was some very exciting racing.
Man, us three, the 84 and the 82 there were really good. I don't know what happened to Chase there. I think he was going to be a car to beat too, but it all worked out again. Just the restarts there were kind of tough. We were a little loose, but that's my dying financial forward. At the end, when we had clean air on, it was just in the earth. So I can't thank everybody enough. RPM, my dad, my mom, my grandpa, everybody who got me here. It's just awesome, man. It's always a blessing to get out here and do what you love, and I'm gonna take one race at a time.
How about the pass for the lead? You went to the inside of Billy Bowden. It was really close. Chad Boat, excuse me. Yeah, Billy was spotting for him, but Chad, and that was really close, but it was a great move.
I don't really remember, honestly. I forgot. Oh, on the outside on that restart. Yeah, I actually did that at Iowa too. I guess he doesn't really know how far he can drive it on a restart, so I just put it on his quarter and got him out there, and it stuck. The old man got on the radio, said, try to turn 4 and or try the outside and turn 2. You can't hold it. So, so I just put it on there and it stuck. And once it got clean air on, it kind of fixed our loose condition, and we were able to win.
4 races this season, 3 times to victory lane. Those are pretty good numbers for Corey LaJoie. Jim Trado.
And Ray, with his third top 5 finish in his last 7 races as Spencer Gallagher, P3 today, you had a pretty sporty race car. Tell us about your run.
You know, Jim, I just got to tell you, my Legion Travel Chevrolet was handling fantabulously today. We took home an impressive 3rd place finish. I think that's our 3rd top 5 in 7 starts. I can't thank my Gallagher Motorsports crew enough. All the credit in the world goes to them. You know, it got a little persnickety out there on the track every here and there. I was cascading a little bit through 1 and 2, a little more than I would have liked to, but all in all, it's a great day to be taking home this Legion Travel Chevrolet.
A lot of fast cars you were racing with all day today. What did you learn about air and these bumps on the Kentucky Speedway for next time?
I learned there's a lot of bumps, Jim. I learned there's bumps on one end of the track and that there are also bumps on the other end of the track. And when the car hits them, it doesn't really like it. So it was a very informative experience out here at the fantastic Kentucky Speedway.
That's Spencer Gallagher coming home 3rd today.
Now, is persnickety, is that an adverb?
I'm not sure.
Please tell me that's an adverb.
I think he won a bet.
I think that's Alec Bowman back there, a former ARCA racing driver, doing a little bit of
photo bombing.
But I have to say, that's quite the vocabulary. I mean, I heard a few words in there that...
Well, I know Jim Trado had a huge question mark on his face as he was interviewing him. Frank Kimmel, 315 points is the gap between he and Mason Mingus. What did we say?
I think I heard him leaving for Kansas.
Yeah.
He's already on his way to Kansas to make sure he gets there. Once Frank Kimmel has competed in the first practice session, it will be official that he can claim the championship of 2013. A very impressive run he has had, as well as Mason Mingus, the young man currently 2nd in the point standings. Celebration will continue for that young man, Corey LaJoie, back to victory lane. Race 20 of the 21 race season is in the books for the ARCA Racing Series. NASCAR Race Day, fueled by Sunoco. Sunday on Fox Sports 1. That coverage beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern. And it is heating up. The battle for the Cup Championship. The chase is on. Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, an impressive performance last time out for those 2 drivers.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth has been so good this year. Won the most races. Really, you wondered if there was going to be a fall off with him switching from Roush Fenway to Joe Gibson. From the very drop of the green flag in Daytona, he's been good.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the move of his career, and I say that because I feel like it's really re-energized his racing career and looking like they can go for a championship right here.
Obviously, we've got Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch in front of Jimmy Johnson. Do you think they have to be the favorites now, or can Jimmy Johnson leapfrog them for his 6th championship?
I don't think you can ever count Jimmy Johnson as not a favorite when you're going for a Cup championship. They had a little bit of a stumble getting to the chase, but they had a good, strong run last week, and you know they're going to be good from here on out.
Yeah, had it not been for the pit road incident with Jimmy Johnson, I feel like he would have been right there with Matt Kenseth challenging for the lead. The thing, though, that I think we have to talk about is anybody that's in that top 13, they can win that championship.
They got a chance.
Every one of those cars has shown moments of brightness this year. They've all run good at certain times, so definitely going to be interesting.
Jim Trado, Grant Enfinger comes home with a 4th place finish today.
We talked about him before the race. We talked about that left side tire change to get him track position. Grant, take us through your day. Once you got those 4 Hoosiers on, how good was this race car up to 4th? It seemed like at the finish, but did he have something if maybe another caution came out?
Yeah, I think so. I think we needed another caution there at the end. I definitely like the 4 tires better than the 2 tires, but you know, that was Crew Chief Kelly Kopsky's call. We had to be gutsy to be able to get some track position and get up there. Just didn't work out the way the cautions played out. But still, a good job. We're making progress. Everybody at Team BCR has worked so hard. So appreciate everybody at K-Site, Motor Honey, Worth, Stanley Industries, everybody that lets us do this. We're not where we want to be mile and a half wise yet, but we're definitely making some progress.
You've had a chance to test here. You've also got the tires figured out for Kansas. This is your next race. Talk about how your season's gone. Just 8 opportunities, but you've won twice, and now you're 4th top 5.
Yeah, you know, we haven't been to the track as much as we wanted to, obviously, but we have run good every time we've been there. So, you know, like I said, we've worked really, really hard on this mile and a half stuff. So I hope we can, you know, make some more gains at Kansas and be in contention. So everybody at Roush Yates is working hard, and we are too.
Grant Anfinger 4th today with a strong run. Ray?
Well, Jim, it wasn't a stellar day today for Frank Kimmel, but really all you got to do is get to Kansas and you'll have your 10th championship, Frank. You've had top 10s in every race this season. Talk about the big picture of this year with you in ThorSport.
Well, it's been a special year just because of our consistency, and you know, the cars have run really, really good all race. And you know, I put ourselves in a hole today or this weekend when I crashed right off the bat in practice and had to go to the backup car. And but I think it was 40 minutes by the time the guys got the car back ready to go on the racetrack, which is you know, really, really spectacular. So. Had a good handling car today. I thought it drove really well for the limited amount of time we had with it, and, but it was a short track engine package, and so we struggled a little bit on the power. But the Triad guys, the first car was really going to be strong. We just couldn't get that motor in the other car.
One more chance this season for win number 80. Will you get that other car prepared, ready to go to Kansas?
Yeah, they're already. Jared already told me before the race ended on the radio. He said we're going to get that other car, and both cars. I'm telling you, this race car was excellent, though. I mean, it's really a good race car. We just didn't have time to put the power to it and stuff that we needed to do. And those guys have done a great job all year. So they'll bring the best race car we got to Kansas, and we're going to go out and run. And to win the championships, that's going to be really cool. And hopefully we can get to Kansas and do that, and maybe get that 80th win there. That'd be really good.
We look forward to it. Frank Kimmel with another top 10. Jim Trado?
A driver with a great top 5 finish. Chad Boat, you had a great run. Top 3 wide to the lead. Chad, talk us through your day. It was a pretty impressive performance.
Yeah, no, I can't thank all my guys enough. My family had a great cause on the car this week, stepping out for Hope, supporting Katie Wagner. We were racing for her today, so it's definitely been a tough week for everyone back home in Phoenix. But, you know, we'll take the top 5. We went 3 wide there, and we took the lead, and I was hoping to just go green the rest of the way because I thought we could, drive away. But restart, Corey and I got together a little bit. I thought I got away good enough, and but he just got to my outside just enough where he was able to take the air off me, and then we kind of got together. But we'll take the top 5. We keep doing that. We're going to win one of these times.
And as we look at that, we also know that they got together a little bit more than once, because look at the right side of the car, guys. This is the right side of the car that he had to finish the race with. This may have been, Chad, the reason why Grant Anfinger got you in those final moments?
Yeah, we just got really tight there at the end. Lost the side force, and then we had been going tight all day. So we thought we made good adjustments there at the one pit stop, but still just didn't probably go enough.
Chad Boat, brand new race car. He'll run it at Kansas, finishes 5th today at Kentucky.
Thank you, Jim. How sweet is it for a guy like Corey LaJoie, who works on the car? Both of you guys have won in cars that you've worked on. Is it that much more sweeter?
Absolutely. I mean, in 2008, when we were fortunate enough to get to victory lane in the ARCA Racing Series, you look at what you've been able to accomplish. You look at the guys that help you, because in a situation like Corey, there's probably not many guys that are out there willing to come in and help him put this race car together, and he's doing a lot of it by himself. So
yeah, Harold Hawley mentioned he did most of the work to set the car up even.
Absolutely, and he looks around and he goes, okay, there's maybe 1 or 2 other guys in this room that I can say, help me do this, but I did this, and I put this race car together. Man, that's just a great feeling. You want to win, but you want to win when you put the race car together.
And Justin won his championship with a family team and did so much of the work.
Next stop for the ARCA Racing Series, the Kansas Lottery, 98.9 Kansas Speedway. It's the final race of the 2013 season, and the last step for Frank Kimmel to claim his 10th championship and his final opportunity for win number 80. Justin Allgaier, thank you for joining us up here once again in the booth.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Best of luck for you in your next race. It was a wild ride.